says, your immersive experience has been hijacked. It is highly recommended that you disconnect.
That's fine.
Good afternoon. I don't know why I always want to say good afternoon to y'all, but good evening. Welcome to the Immersive Experience. I'm your guide, Desi Lou, and this is a podcast about you, for you, from you. And tonight we are exploring the intersection with Anéh and I will let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. But before they do introduce themselves, before we came on here, I was just telling them that they are examples. There's the people that you could follow. They could show you something and you could get behind it because that's the way that they live it. And I've always loved that. People who are examples, and they are definitely that. They have a lot of different talents, different skill sets, all types of things. So I think tonight is going to be very educational, very informational. So I hope you guys are tuned in and ready to learn something. All right, if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves for me.
Well, hi, I'm Anéh Nebulae. I'm a lot of things to a lot of people. I wear many hats. For a few of them, I'm a full spectrum doula, full spectrum entheogenic doula, which means I help people get pregnant, stay pregnant, and deliver babies on entheogens or prevent pregnancy with entheogens. I am a mycologist and a sacred fungi stewardess, which basically means I grow mushrooms, I tend to them, I provide them. And I'm a hoodoo and quite a few other ATR initiations that I'm probably not going to talk about here. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I am a cultivator of consciousness, a freedom plug, a peace plug, all of that. But yeah, that's me.
So, peace. My name is Veda. I am a lot of things. I don't usually speak about like everything that I do, only because I do so much I don't think about it. So first and foremost, I have been a community activist since I was 15 years old. I'm 34 now. I don't know what the math is for that. I've done everything from food drives, clothing drives, book drives, you name it. I've worked with anti-gang programs to get kids back in school. I've been an ordained minister for about 4 years now. I am among probably a few people that could say I had one of the very first podcasts for hip hop in upstate New York at 18 years old. I've been the Minister of Information for the People's New Black Panther Party. I've held membership in pretty much every Black nationalist organization you can think of, from the Nation of Gods and Earths to the Moorish Science Temple to dealings with the NOI. Those are my brothers. Shout out to them. I'm a musician. I'm a published artist. Currently, right now, I'm working with a good sizable amount of Rochester's best talents. We just began a outfit called the Rock City Chop House, where business and charity and music are all aligned. So we'll be very soon. I'll be doing live events for that, not only in our city but in other places. And whatever else I come up with during the time of this interview, we'll figure it out. Because I know I'm missing stuff. And that's just me.
Where'd you go, Desi?
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry. I lost signal. And Rich says she loves the open mindset of the both of you. So I agree. I concur. So first things first, I see that you guys have a lot of things under your belt. And if you guys are reading here in the audience, you can see under their names that they're the founders of the Akashic Garden. I could give you a little information about the Akashic Garden, and they have so many things in there, even from just teaching you step-by-step things. Anything that you want to learn, it's in there. If you're into foraging, I believe that it's called. I know that those things are in there as well. Even crystals, they have a library, which he came in and he discussed that with us a little bit, and I dropped the link in the last live that he was on, so that if you guys do want to go and look at some of the books that they have in there. I do know that there are a lot of what are the forgotten books that you guys have in that library. So I know, and I've gone through them. Like,
well, it's gonna be a time going through there.
Huh?
There's going to be a time going through there. It's a big library.
It's about 7,000 last time I count.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's something in that ballpark.
It's huge.
And that's really not even, that don't even touch it, to be honest. Because some of it is just so much that we can only hold but so many gigabytes inside of the drive for the cloud space.
Right.
So we got more. We got laptops full of computers hanging around the house.
We gonna get it to you though.
Yeah, we gonna figure it out. We gonna get it to y'all though. We gonna figure it out.
Okay. So and I also know that do you still? She said that she does entheogenic medicine, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I facilitate
Can you
ceremonies. I facilitate a lot around entheogens. A lot of my work revolves around reconnecting people of color back to entheogenic knowledge. When you hear things like psychedelics, for those that don't know, entheogen is my preferred word instead of psychedelics, even though I love that word. Psychedelics means mind manifesting. So I help our people manifest our minds back to ourselves through that type of medicine. So I hold ceremonies, I provide medicine, I provide classes to make your own medicine, because that's what I prefer you to do. It connects you more to the medicine when you get real hands-on, like growing your own mushrooms. I have a master class coming out about that in about the next week that'll teach you not only how to grow the mushrooms, but other types, because all mushrooms are medicinal, and it will show you how to make your own medicine, from tinctures to putting it in your food, and basically how to integrate entheogens and adaptogenic mushrooms into your everyday life.
Riss is asking, what's the best way to connect with you guys off of this?
I am very heavy on the Facebook under my name, Anéh Nebulae, or the Akashic Garden. What Desi was talking about is the group. But I'm very active on the page. So you'll find guides and things about crystals, how to forage, how to make certain medicines, herbs, herbal knowledge, things like anything that I know and I've thought to post is going to be in the group. And then on the page, I just do updates about like current things that are happening, or basically the ponderings of my mind. And then you really see me and my whole being on my regular page, which is Anéh Nebulae. Now, if you think you're going to find somebody that's going to be all love and light and all this stuff, that's not me, baby. I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to keep it raw, and I'm real transparent about who I am and what I do. So you might see some stuff you don't agree with. I don't want you to follow me because you want somebody to follow. I don't want you to follow me. I just want you to see me. And if I resonate with you, that's cool.
Now, I do want to ask you this, because this is something that I wanted to ask you on your status that I saw. I think it was yesterday, maybe. And you was like, what's older than love?
What's more ancient than love? I thought that was funny because so many people took it and really was trying to figure out what was more ancient than love, when it was just really a romantic pondering. To me, it really opened up who's having trouble in that heart chakra, in that heart space, because those people tend to react negatively when they see that word love. But there's, in my mind at least, there's nothing more ancient than love. It's the first thing that you really know how to do innately. When you pop out, when your mother holds you to her chest, or you start to feed, that oxytocin is activated in your brain. That's love. That's the first thing you do is love. So there's really nothing more ancient than love. And love is what brought you here, whether it was a temporary moment of a one-night stand or a long-term relationship and you were planned, bars. But regardless, that you were brought here and made and conceived from love. You couldn't be here without love. And that was my point of the status, but I thought it was funny the way people took it.
I thought it was too. I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna just ask her about that tomorrow. It was some things that I even, I didn't have to go and do much research on you guys because just simply because of, like I said, I've been following you guys for years. And I'm glad that I get this opportunity to talk to you guys and share the knowledge that you all have with everybody else that's out there. So, and I do understand that you do taxes, correct?
Indeed, I do. Indeed, I do.
Okay, tax season is upon us. I'd be remiss not to allow you to entice the people with your services, please.
Okay. So one thing that I tell people all the time, the first thing to know about taxes, because it's such a major, what they say, the only thing guaranteed is life is death and taxes, right? So the thing about taxes is there's a way of using it to further yourself. My beautiful counterpart here, we're, by nature we're very anti-capitalist, but we're very good at it. So we are in the study of being good at it, and so in just randomly studying one day about a particular tax situation that I was in, I was just like, wow, this is something I should learn about. And next thing you know, I learned, and then I'm both federally and New York State certified. And I'd like to tell my people, yes, it's a good way to reset the year. It's a good way to, spoil the family, whatever like that. But also make sure that you're using those opportunities as a way of growth. I tell my clients all the time, like especially what they call Schedule C. So that's self-employed. That's the entrepreneurs. Make sure your bookkeeping is correct. Get you like a Keeper or a Found app, and they will get your taxes done. And even if you're not in a Schedule C, a lot of people don't understand that half of the stuff that we buy on a daily basis is tax deductible, especially when it's in consideration of our children. So, if you're going to, the fact that we're in the system, you should know at least how to get in the system. I always use this example. You know why Trump is so successful? Even though all his businesses are in debt and are in bankruptcy, because once you figure out that things like LLCs and establishing things as LLCs, S corps or C corps, and there's different definitions for each and different needs for each one of those things. But let's just start with LLCs, which is one of the bigger, more common classifications for businesses. Everything goes through that business. So regardless to whom or what, they get paid. So his businesses are failing. He's not failing. He himself personally is not failing, because the difference between an EIN and a social security number is as hair thin as a piece of hair. So understanding those type of businesses and rules is one of those things that I studied, we both studied, and we got, I don't know how many business books and tax law books and
y'all see
regular law books. Like, I'm the legal head. I'm the litigious one. So that's my part of all this. I always say I let her do her mystical hippie stuff, and I do the paperwork. And I just do the paperwork. I'm the number cruncher.
Meanwhile, he be
so
over
can
here cards.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel, what, y'all could talk about what one or the other do, but I feel like y'all play off each other a lot of the time. So I even know there was a time where she was on there talking about, you need to hurry up and build her studio. So I know, like, and you do music, so it's kind of like, you both benefit from both of your skills.
That's where we are now. That's where we are now. Like you can't really see it, but yeah, we in the studio. This is the studio. So you see what I'm saying? And then, like, you can't see over in the cut that she got all the singing bowls, and she got a harp. She collects different types of instruments, world instruments.
Oh, I'm gonna bless y'all with a sound healing in the space before I go. Know that.
Yeah, very much.
Absolutely, so. I would love that. I would love it. I know. I listen to the live sound baths that you do. When you come on, y'all think I be playing?
I haven't done one since we got to the New Year, so the one here will be the first one of the year.
Okay, thank you for blessing us with that, girl. I'm not. So I want to ask you all. How do you think the tax system can be reformed to better support small businesses and entrepreneurs?
So the thing is, it really boils down to the loopholes are there already. It's having the information. Our people do not suffer simply from opportunity. We suffer from a lack of information. And not even just a lack of information, but a lack of understanding of the information. Like, you'll see it on Facebook. We were laughing about this not too long ago. Everybody says, get an LLC, get an LLC. And I know many people who get that LLC, but they don't know what to do with it. Because, okay, you got the LLC, you got all these things. Now what? And so if you don't know what to do with the situation, then you can't properly benefit from it. So one of the things that through, and I'm going to shout them out, my the company I work for, Max Tax Holdings, which is a franchisee of the Jackson Hewitt brand. What we do is let people know, we let our clients know from start to finish about what to do. And then even on a personal level, I've had clients that say, hey, I don't know how to make heads or tails of what I was supposed to do. And like, I had a client that was that had a daycare. And they did the most basic of bookkeepings. And, it was just really food and the money received for each child. And I said, okay, did you buy anything for the business? Yeah, I bought cots, toys, I said, all of that's tax deductible. All of that's tax deductible. All of that's money you leaving on the table. So I made them go back, go through their Amazon, go through their Walmart, get all of their receipts. And when I say the difference was a couple $1,000 in deductions, which made everything else get higher, it's and like I said, it's a factor of knowing what to do and having people to give you that information. A lot of people gatekeep information, and we are under the belief that this is a holdover from I'm not a part of the nation of gods and earths, but I'm always be a 5%er. And as a 5%er, we teach that we're gonna tell the truth regardless to whom or what. We don't. The 10% are the gatekeepers. The 10%ers are the bloodsuckers of the poor. I'm not a bloodsucker of the poor. I'm a poor righteous teacher. So whatever I learn, I'm giving it back. Whatever Anéh learns, she immediately gives it back. A lot of times in transit of while we're learning things, we're giving it back to people. Yo, check this book out. Read this article. Pay attention to these things. This is why. And so understanding that why would change the dynamics for so many things. And that goes not only just taxes, but business in general and life in general.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Anéh, I would like to talk about this word been kicking my ass.
You gonna get it, baby. You gonna get it. Entheogenic. Entheogenic. Yes. You can say psychedelic. Okay. You don't gotta use my word. You use whatever word resonates with you. You familiar with and comfortable. But most people, again, are familiar with psychedelics, so we can use that. That don't matter. I'm gonna use them interchangeably myself.
I'm not familiar with much of anything. I just be calling them mushrooms. It's the shroom.
That's mostly what I work with, because that is one of the most ancient future technologies is what I call them. And so,
well, you taught me a lot about shrooms, biocylin, all the tallest. There used to be giant mushrooms. Like I be learning. No.
I see you be paying attention. And like I said, that's all. I don't want you to follow me. I just want you to see me. And if you learn something beautiful, if it resonate with you, great. But yes, I do a lot of work centered around medicine work. And so I'm a master herbalist. I probably didn't say that at the beginning. Lots of hats. So I like to go back. I like to take us back. I like Sankofa, right? To go back and fetch. Right. And so I go back and fetch this information from our ancestors to let it be known to the rest of us. And so I use the modality of healing with mushrooms to go back in time. People say we don't have time machines. Yes, we do. We do. Okay. They're called mushrooms. and I board that ship righteously and religiously. It is so much that can come from the mushroom. And so I work to reconnect us with that consciousness. I work to reconnect us with our ancestors, because when we as people hear psychedelics, the word psychedelics or shrooms or mushrooms, the first thing a lot of people say is that's white people shit. No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's ours. They're on the hieroglyphs. That's our thing. That's our Merkaba. That's our ride. That's our shit.
Yeah, stop giving our culture away. Stop giving our culture away.
And so I work to reconnect us with that. And I do that through, again, ceremony. I hold ceremony because a lot of people there's a lot of colonization around the concept of psychedelics and mind altering substances. And the way that we were sacrificed in pursuit of the knowledge of it, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that people that were incarcerated in the 70s and the 80s, when the hippies were getting all the recognition for anything, we were in those jail cells and they were experimenting on us with LSD and things like that, knowing setting they matter. Meanwhile, they're inviting our white counterparts to their offices or to their homes to lay on the couch, because again, set and setting matter. So it's a lot of that still stored in our culture and our DNA, and it was part of that war on drugs. So I understand the stigma in our community about it, but it's time we let that go. And mushrooms are good at that, at letting go. So I do a lot of education, because the more you know about something, the more comfortable, because you're not really scared of it. You're scared of not knowing. So if I inform you, you'll be less afraid. So that's really what I do. And then when people are ready to step into the mushroom and sit with that teacher and sit on that mat and learn and face themselves and look in that mirror, that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to take it to the step of you doing it yourself. And again, it's not just psychedelic mushrooms, but mushrooms in general. There's just so many health benefits that I'm probably going to rave about during this whole time, every time I get on this microphone. But
no, I really do. I want you to express it. I want people to see the knowledge that you have about it, so that when they have something that they're thinking. So I know a lot of questions that come from it. I think a lot of people would be scared of it because they're more thinking, oh, can I get addicted to this? Is this something that so go ahead and tell me about it.
No, baby, if you listen, mushrooms, first of all, they're being used to heal addiction. Let's start there. Okay. And not just mushrooms. And this is clinically, like, people don't know, but across, just like cannabis has had a revolution and a renaissance, there's a psychedelic renaissance going on right now. And it's our time. We're not going to get left out like we were left out of cannabis, and now we're waiting for handouts as they capitalize and while we're sitting in jails. We're not doing that. So we making sure we got our voices amplified in the space now, right now. And so during this renaissance, I want us to tap in. I want us to dig deep. And so I want us to first release the ever thought of anything you've ever heard about a mushroom. Whatever it is, delete it. That's not it. So no, they're not addictive. They're here to heal. They're healing modalities. There's nothing that a mushroom is going to do to you that you haven't already done to you, because it's just holding up a mirror. Okay. And so when we go into the mushroom, this is what we see. We see ourselves. And so that's why it works so well as a modality for addiction, because it brings you down to that core. It's your shadow work, and shadow work is amplified through these modalities. And it's not just mushrooms. They're using iboga, which comes from Gabon. That's our It's called the visionary herb of Africa. That's what they're talking about in Black Panther, believe it or not. That heart-shaped herb, if you look at the original comics, it's just like iboga, and it serves the same purpose, to bring us to our ancestral realm, to talk to ourselves and each other, and to connect and to get our information. Just like the Native Americans, they go on their quest and their total quest and whatnot, and we have that too. And so when we're 12, 13, 8 years, as young as 8 years old, we're home taking iboga. So this is something that has been integrated into our lives for millennia from the beginning. And they're using iboga because in one session, it's healing addictions. And I'm talking hardcore opiate addictions. Like right now, like I said, across the country, we got Oregon, California, Colorado, Detroit, Ann Arbor, and Michigan. I'm ahead of decriminalized nature over here in Rochester. So we're working to get these things decriminalized because they're now waking up to the benefits that our ancestors been knew they had. So no, baby, it's going to heal you. You ain't going to be addicted to nothing. When you go on a trip and when you come back from the afterglow of that trip, you ain't going to want to go do that again. You got to integrate that. There's a time that people don't talk about in that integration after your trip. You got to sit there and really think about your experiences. That's why I tell people to document when you do go on when you deify. I like to call it deify. You're putting on your God face, you turn into your God body, you get to talk to your highest self. So when you do deify, record that so you can go back and you can look at yourself and really do the work. Shadow work ain't just a buzzword and a hashtag. This really work out here. And this is a tool that's going to help you get your work done so you can pass this class.
Can I, Riss asked if you are new to this kind of society, where would you suggest them to start? And I know you mentioned shadow work. So how would you suggest somebody just getting on this journey to ease into that?
I have a book just for that.
We both do.
Yep. So you find it on Amazon. I'll post the link if you can, or I'll put it in my link tree. Mine will be dropping later this year on my bio. But it's called the Workbook of Shadows. So not only do I break down what it is and the concept from Carl Jung and how it applies, but there's a second half of the book where it's literally an activity journal and self-care is built into it. And so I would start with doing small amounts of self-recognition and mindfulness, right? Because when you go into that mushroom, there's nothing that you can do to prepare yourself. I'm gonna let you know now. I know a lot of people are like, well, what does it feel like? What was the experience? I can tell you all day what my experience was like, but it's not gonna have nothing to do with y'all conversation. You and the mushroom got your own business that I ain't got nothing to do with. Me and my experience is my experience. So everybody's gonna be affected differently. So the most I can do is recommend, like I said, that set and setting. So make sure you're in a comfortable place with somebody you trust, because you don't want to do this by yourself, because you never met the mushroom before. You don't know who you are when you're sitting in the presence of that teacher. So you want to have somebody that knows you. Usually it's if somebody has been in the mushroom before, preferably, not somebody that is going to see what's going on with you and listen to what you might say and get scared and panic, because that's an energy transfer that's going to transfer to your trip. And now it's you, them, and the mushroom, and that's not going to mesh together. So you want to make sure it's somebody that that's why I offer ceremonies, because that way you can come to somebody that knows what they're doing and knows the signs and can, do what needs to be done in the moment. But yeah, I recommend kind of easing into it. And there's microdosing. You don't have to jump into a full trip. You can introduce yourself to the mushroom in different ways, even just information, right? Like I said earlier, just knowing it eases us, it soothes us. So you can soothe that inevitable anxiety behind it, because really what it is it's that scared of lack of control. I don't know what this is going to do to me. I don't know who I am or what I'm going to become, because you don't know who you are. And the mushroom is going to tell you who you are. And that's really what the crux of that fear is. You're not scared of a mushroom. You're scared of you. So you have to get to know you and start to break down your own walls before it do. Right. So you can be at least semi-prepared with some field notes while you walk into this. Right.
Absolutely. She also asks, what herb would you say is the easiest to find where you're located?
Where I'm located?
Mm-hmm.
Or where any? Okay, because where I'm located, I'm in upstate New York. That's such a loaded question because my brain is like, yo, are we going to talk about foraging? Because listen, outside
This is a
being, or
this is
are we
a
going to talk about
question.
like at the store? Because I don't go to the store. I go on, I ain't going to hold you. I go on Amazon and I use the EBT card and I will buy me some herbs. You can too. I tell people all the time, they are accessible. There's no reason that you don't got none. There's no reason this isn't incorporated and developed into your life yet, because they're so accessible. But as far as when I'm not on Amazon shopping, outside, I would say Queen Anne's lace is abundant out here, and that's what enables me to make my tinctures for Planned Parenthood. So it's nature's birth control. It's nature's plan B, rather. So yeah, and it's something that people are taught are a weed, which is why foraging is so revolutionary and so important. Is that knowledge that they don't want you to have. But Queen Anne's lace is definitely probably the most abundant. We have literal acres and fields of Queen Anne's lace. That and plantain and burdock root is really heavy out here in upstate New York. But we have a plethora of flora and fauna and native species plants that people would call weeds, because that's all weeds are, is native species, and they don't like it because it's not the single one monoculture of grass that everybody was growing. But yeah, Queen Anne's lace, and I think y'all should tap into it. I've done quite a bit of information about Queen Anne's lace. Ladies, if you have a womb space, if you don't want to be caught out here, okay, being the P word, Queen Anne's lace.
She also asks, and I'd like both of you to answer this question: what's your favorite part about the spiritual society? Do you feel like it has less stress than the norm society?
So, and I built on this last podcast, Science of Spirituality, dealing with the fact that spirituality, if you deal with this with the word spirit, etymologically, that comes from Latin or even Greek, spiritos or spiritus or aspirit, which means breath. So breath is natural, breathing is natural. So spirituality in the most succinct, simple form is how you live your life, and living your life in tune with nature. I was a ardent studier, and we also still visit the Sangha on Sundays. Mm-hmm. So we study Buddhism, Taoism, in its many forms, all the isms. And one thing that I always enjoy is Taoism, because it speaks about understanding nature and going along with nature. To go along with nature as it was and as it intends to be, because the Tao is not definable. Just like life is not definable. You can just kind of adapt as you go. And yes, you can think, and yes, you can philosophize, and you can ponder and make observation, but life is going to be what it is. So understanding, being in tune with nature, being in tune with oneself nature, and in contrast to the quote unquote normative society, oh no, it sucks. Because it's like the movie, if you know, for the older folks in the room, there's a movie called They Live, and that movie, Roddy Piper, he gets these sunglasses, and when he puts them on, he sees that the world has been taken over by this foreign alien threat that looks just like regular people. And now only he can see it when he puts the glasses on. And it's something similar that the elder Dick Gregory said. He said one time, he said, when the universe chooses you and imparts you with the knowledge itself and imparts you with what's really going on, you can't take that off. So a lot of times people who are in this space, that tell you, oh, love and light and positivity and love and light and flowers and candy and unicorns. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. Flat out, all this, most 90% of the 99% of the self-help. Oh, you just gotta think about things on a positive level. No, you have to think about things as neutral as possible and then find the positives and the negatives within it and how that resorts to you and how that applies to self. There's no, again, there's no turning it off. So you will find yourself losing friends. You will find yourself losing family members. They don't want to talk to you anymore. They don't want to deal with you anymore, whatever the case may be. And you have to make that decision and that choice. And that's something that comes along with the ingesting or the imbibing and the practice of entheogenic medicines. As you know, my counterpart has said, it basically gives you that ability to have the discernment of how you choose to live your life. Because once you have that ego death, you could try to pretend, you could try to be something you're not, but you've already seen the divinity within yourself, and there's nothing you could do about it except embrace it or run from it. And if you run from it, you're going to deal with the consequences. But if you embrace that divinity, you embrace your knowledge of yourself and the world around you, see things as they are and not the way they appear to be, you now put yourself in a place of rarefied air. Like, what is it to understand that money is an illusion? And once you understand and truly understand that money is an illusion, when I say we think and so shall it be, like, how many times? We can't even count how many times we just, from a thought, it appears. And it's not magic in the sense of it just appears. It's magic in the sense of we attuned our energy to a frequency that understands that if I put myself in the position of abundance and power, I'm going to have abundance and power over whatever situation that I'm in. Because first and foremost, I have the foresight, I have the information, I have the knowledge. So yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to suck. It sucks. In my 34 years of living, a good portion of it has been in severe depression. Only because from a young age, I've studied, I first began to study theology at 13 years old. I first read what they call the Apocrypha, or the hidden knowledge, at 14 years old. By 15, I'm traveling to temples and studying with Buddhists, Taoists, Muslims, Christians, Jews, trying to figure things out. And it wasn't until now in my 30s that I finally figured out they're all saying the same things. Minded, give or take their cultural biases. And so when you get to the root, that's where you know how positive the fruit is. When you get to the root of the matter, and you know how strong that tree actually is. So,
absolutely. Anéh, did you want to piggyback? Did you have something else that you'd like to add?
You found me in a peculiar place of my evolution and how I feel about spiritual community and whatnot. I'm very much in a place of release with it. A place of I remember a few years ago when I was talking about duality and that being the concept, and I'm watching the evolution of something I've been doing my whole life. I'm watching us come back, and that's a beautiful part. And so that's the way I kind of tame myself when I get annoyed about the other things that go on in the community, like the scamming and the just being for profit and commodifying and monetizing and all. I think, we're coming home, so we're gonna act a fool when we get in the house because we ain't got no home training. So, but again, this is things that I've been doing my whole life. So I'm not somebody that's like leaving Christianity I find that there's a deep need for us to to decolonize our spirituality. So people just kind of hop from religion, quote unquote, and I hate to say that because that gives discredit to our stuff, our ATRs, our Ifa, our Santeria, our Yoruba, our Kandampo, our spirituality. They're religions, and I know people don't like to admit that, but the R in the ATR stands for religion. So when people are leaving the three Abrahamic religions, when they're leaving Islam, when they're leaving Judaism, when they're leaving Christianity, they tend to bring those ingrained values into these spaces, like the concept of hell and demons and things like, and the devil. Ifa don't got that. We don't got that. We don't believe in none of that. And so people tend to bring damnation with them. They tend to bring condemnation with them as well. So not only am I damning everything you're doing, but I'm condemning you in the same breath, because the oppressed tend to like to be the oppressors when we feel like we've returned to some sort of power. Now I'm the priest, I'm the preacher, and I'm gonna tell you going to hell because you don't believe as I do. So we tend to bring that. So I feel like there's a need for us to emphasize not only just shadow work and knowing who, but healing those church wounds is what I call them. You got to heal the church wounds before you come over here, because you're gonna come over here acting like them white folk.
Poison
and thinking you can do and say whatever you want. And you find it in those, oh, well, I don't need to go see a Babalawo to tell me because Oshun came to me in my dreams and yada, yada, yada. Like, there's a disregard for tradition. And if anybody know me, I'm a traditionalist. And so there's this wayward and wanton, just wayward energy that comes with that. It's like rebellious kids. I'm watching the kids come in from recess, or finally getting to go out to recess, and they finally got something to grasp to, because a lot of things were stripped. They tried to strip it off, but they didn't. It lived that subconscious. So people are reconnecting to hoodoo. People are coming over here to Ifa. They're coming over here to Santeria and Lokumi and all these different traditions, or wanting to, but don't know how to connect. So they're just trying to pave their own ways. And I get where it comes from. And so I'm patient with it. But again, I was teaching the things like duality and things, the concepts that are catching on years ago. And so you've, like I said, you've caught me in an evolutionary state, because I've let go of that particular thing, right? You probably see me ranting about abandoning money, and we got to stop using that. We have to transcend these very core concepts, and it's hard. It's very hard. And so I'm going to get that pushback. People are going to think I sound crazy, right? And so I want people to, I'm waiting for the time, and I'm probably gonna have to wait a good amount of time for us to come to the same realization that I've seen. And that's just in my travels and my practices, like my co-creator here said. And I'm watching everybody go through, I'm just watching myself, really. And so through the spiritual community, I'm doing my own shadow work, because what I see in others is something I can identify in myself, right? And so it's become less about judging what the community is doing as a whole, and just watching what we're doing, and just watching our evolution, because y'all gonna come to the same realization I have. I remember when I was coming to the realization of duality and dual concepts, and now I'm at a place where I'm like, yeah, no, we above that now. We above that now. It's oneness. That duality is not it, because it's always going to be two. It's always going to be two halves. It's always going to be two separates. That male, female, that rich, poor, that masculine, feminine, that whatever you want. The binary. You got to release the binary. It's one, because the code is made up of ones and zeros. I code. Little known fun fact is I build programs and computers and shit. And the code is 1010. That's how you build whole entire worlds, right? And that's no different than ours. Again, little known fact, I graduated from Berkeley with dual bachelors. I'm 2 semesters away from a dual master's, but I graduated from UC Berkeley, astrophysics and molecular astrophysics. So I work to understand things down to a quantum level. The goal is to be a theoretical physicist. So that means I get to do the pondering with the numbers and the whatnots. But it's always going to be one, that oneness, that allness, and that mushroom is going to teach you that when you have that death of the ego, you have to have it continuously, because the ego is forever. It's a protective measure. It's not a bad thing. It's a protective measure, but sometimes it does too good of a job, and it protects us from things that we need to really look at and really correct, right? And so the mushroom will show you that ego death, when you hear people describe it, it's a universal thing. It's like, yo, I found out that I was connected to everything, where I was the tree that was swaying. I'll never forget, we had a tandem experience where there was a storm. It was during a storm. We were on a journey, and we on the porch, butt naked, swaying in the wind. We was the wind, we was the rain, we was the tree, we was the soil. That's when you feel that interconnectedness, when you tap into the mycelial network and realize that everything is everything, as Lauren said, then that's when you're gonna stop. And so that's why I'm taking my time to educate us, because I know how I got here, and I need us to get here too. And so as far as like how I feel about what the community is doing, it's doing what it's doing. It's thinging. And it's going to thing, and we're going to get there because I'm here. And if I'm here, that means y'all going to get here, because I can't be here by myself. It's impossible. There is no by myself. Everything in this world is connected through the mycelium, even the continents. When you think you're not touching another, the mycelium literally connect everything through the ocean floor. All these continents are connected together, just like we are. It's the first thing. The mycelium is the model for us. It's the neural network. That's why it can heal our neurons. For a long time, we didn't think that we could generate new neurons, but the mushrooms help us do that. So again, like I said, the community is going to do what to do, and then the fruits are going to come from the mycelial network, and we're going to elevate.
I
see
agree
this
with that.
question.
I'm sorry?
No, I saw. I didn't see. I saw that it happened, but I didn't see what the sister asked. Or the brother.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to it. I letting y'all talk y'all shit, because I don't want to interrupt. Gotta let the knowledge get out before I.
Y'all must listen, because I
No.
will info dump on your pod, baby.
It's okay. This is exactly what I'm looking for. But I do want to go back to something that you were just saying, because I know that was one of the questions that I had sent to you all is, how do you believe the concept of infinity in relation to consciousness can shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us? And I will say, when you were just talking about interconnectedness, and you were talking about how you were into astrophysics and things like that, I have a podcast that talks about the quantum thinker, which is what made me ask the question of the concept of infinity in relation to the consciousness. And it's simply because they've made so much headway with what they're about to do with quantum computing. Of course, they've been able to entangle molecules. They've been able to get them to storing glass cells at room temperature, to entangle them at room temperature. I mean, like, it's a lot of things happening. I know you said coding happens with zeros and ones, but now we're in an era where it's going to be 0, 1, or both. So we're literally on the precipice of what Albert Einstein had been talking about all those years about relativity and all of these things. And I mean, we're going to walk into them. And I have this crazy obsession with comparing quantum mechanics to the human brain.
Good, as you should, because we are quantum beings. So
I agree with that.
It's funny when we think about these concepts, because we kind of tend to twist them in our hands as separate from us instead of us and us of it. So in these rooms, in these spaces where we're thinking of these equations and these concepts, it's just really a extra complicated version of shadow work, right? So what we're really working to do is recreate self outside of self, because it's very hard to look at yourself when you are yourself. right? That's why it's so easy to look at other things and analyze it and turn it around in your hand. But when that mirror is up, it's hard, right? And so that's what we're looking to do, even down to the quantum level. So when we're quantum computing and when we're building these networks, right? We're just building minds, right? We're just building the neural networks, the neural map of a concept. So we want, for example, what is quantum computing going to bring us most? Right now, it's going to bring us faster, more accurate clocks, and it's going to bring us faster internet, right? How do we make stuff get to us faster, right? But when we're in those rooms, that's just the first practical and general application of what we're trying to do. But when we're in those rooms, we're thinking of different types of concepts. We're thinking of like exploring how do I access the power of a black hole, right? So I can get a clean energy and a useful energy. That's
they have a quantum vortex that they also created.
Mm-hmm. And so it's more about harnessing these things. We're gods, we're creators, we like to wield things, and so we're trying to figure out how to wield the things we can't even see, right, in order to improve our lives while we're actively fucking it up, which is crazy, but we're trying to undo the fuck ups while we're fucking it up, and so it's really just the exploration of knowledge that's happening. And then we have the unintended consequences, just like when Einstein, when they split the atom, he didn't intend for that to make a bomb, right? And so I think that's what concerns a lot of people, is that aftermath of what we're going to do. Like, I know I see a lot of, I'm missing a word here, but it's a lot of anxiety, right? Around new things, new technology. We're becoming our grandparents, and the TV is going to rot your brain, right? And so there's a lot of anxiety around like 5G towers and things like that. And so that anxiety leads to misinformation, right? Because again, that fear of the unknown. Most people hated math. We hated science class and shit. We're artists, right? We make music and we dance and we sing, and fuck them ones and zeros. But those are important because and those are important because it's the crux of literally who we are. So when we hear those things and those headlines and those clickbaits, it's like, oh, look at CERN, what they did. Look at what they're doing, and this is what's causing this, and the 5G towers, this and that. And it's because you don't know. And so I don't really blame anybody for that matter. It's because you don't know. But in the age of information, there's really no reason to not know. They're about to give you the quantum internet so you can know faster, right? So I'm gonna need us to get in the know. I'm gonna need us to get into the STEAM fields. I know it's formerly known as STEM, but we have added art to STEM. So it's STEAM now. So because no scientist is not an artist. We're out here in the field sketching botanical things. We're out here making models of atoms, and we all have some type of artistic something. And so that opens the door for us, but there needs to be more us in STEM. So I could sit up here and give you a bunch of explanations on quantum happenings. However, you need the back knowledge. You need to go do it. So you can find that in the library. There's lots of go listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's my guy. The podcast, Star Talk, go listen to it. Go pick up the books that he makes it so palatable for that. And that's something that I wish I had the talent to do, but in all of my autism, I don't, because I can't think of the wordings and the pop culture references to really drive it home for us, but I want us to get there. So I put a lot of his stuff in the library so we can tap into that. So we can grasp that understanding and release that fear of that change, because this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. You better hop on and get rolling and get rolled over. And we can't get rolled over no more in none of these things. There's a technological renaissance. There's a psychedelic renaissance. We need to chop. Let's go.
I agree with you. The question that Riz had asked was, when you feel imbalanced with yourself, what brings you back to your reality?
No mushroom. I'm trying to tell you, listen, I'm gonna go in this kitchen and I'm gonna get a herb and it's gonna go. But I do a lot of releasing, I do a lot of cleansing a lot. I tap into a lot of sound. That's my personal modality. You're gonna have to figure out what your resonance is. My resonance is with sound, and I don't mean like making music like everybody else does, but shout out to all my musical folks, but I mean like really that raw primordial sound. So drums, things like that. That's why I'm so glad about Andre 3000 album. Listen, he tapped back into that primordial sound. You find your sound, or you find your modality that works for you. I know people where their modality is martial arts, and that was mine for a long time. I did MMA for 15 years, and that was my thing. Find your center, find your thing, find your resonance, and that's always going to help you. And find something that you can do on the go, right? You just learn how to be mindful of self. You do those check-ins with yourself if you are lucky enough to be connected to your co-creator like I am, and you don't really have that ability to recognize when you might be spiraling. Tap in with somebody that do like that's going to recognize that, hey, you go into that place, come on, let's get back to center, let's get back to center, right? And I don't want anybody to take that in a individualistic way, because in my evolution, I'm recognizing hyper individualism, as a problem. We live in a very hyper individualistic culture, so it's being put, the onus is being put on us to take care of us and do it ourselves and be Atlas and hold the world up by ourselves. And we're human. We are never meant to do that. So tap into community, right? That's a good way to get back to center. Cultivate a tribe and tap into that tribe, because it's not, the onus isn't on you, because again, we have a hard time looking at ourselves, right? So we may not know until we're in the thick of it, right? And how to get back to that center. And we may recognize it and not know how to get back to center. So that's why we always have healers in the community and somebody we can go to. Even the healers need healers, right? And so be in touch with somebody, right? Even if it's just outside in nature, it doesn't even have to be a person, right? Even if you just go touch a tree, put your feet on grass. That's why they say touch grass. Go touch some grass. Go pet an animal. Go connect to something, because that's what you're feeling. You're feeling disconnected, and so you have to get back. So you got to get back. So you got to go touch something, be in your body, be present, and really recognize your somatic system. A lot of things they taught us. Again, I don't know if I touched on this, but I'm on the spectrum. I have autism, and so things that I was taught in a lot of places that I ended up being was how to be in touch with my body, because I had a lot of meltdowns, right? So that works and translates into everybody, not just us and on the neurospicy side, but the neurotypical too. Like tap in, what are your toes doing? What are you feeling in your knees? What are you feeling in your chest? What's your heart space doing, right? What's your sacral doing? And then when you identify, go clean that. Go cleanse it off, right? Go put something in your body that's going to adapt to what's going on. There's a lot of herbs that will do that. You'll find that in the guides in the Akashic Garden, or just talking about it in general. I post about teas, tinctures, medicines. I'm always doing things. But yeah, tap in. Go talk to a plant teacher, right? And I call them teachers for a reason. They have so much to teach us, even just through the mind, through the body, somatically. So tap in is the point when you're feeling that disconnect. Just tap into something.
Absolutely. I thank you guys so much for so much knowledge. One thing that I do know that we have not touched on is, we haven't touched on your music, and we haven't touched on the birthing doula. And I do want to talk about those two things. So the first thing I am going to ask, and I know both of you can respond to this, is in what ways do you think poetry and or music has the power to transcend language and connect us on a deeper level?
I think it's one of the first expressions of human existence. Banging on things, like when babies Sometimes babies aren't crying; they're just making noises because that's vocal expression. So with music is as ancient as any of us. So the 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 greater understanding is frequency. And I tell people all the time, like I recently kind of not fell out of love with hip hop because I'm a hip hop head since I was born, but
Mhm.
in its current state, there's still artists that I listen to. However, for the most part, the greater zeitgeist is very much on a negative frequency, and even the fun records have negative frequencies and very low vibrational concepts dealing with it. And so for me, I've started to more so lean heavier into instrumental music, which is one of the main things that I do anyway here in the studio. So there's a bunch of stuff that makes sounds in here. Everything makes a sound in here, and I'm more into that because I can make a song that can express how I feel, or anyone, or you can write a poem. But if you can put the right frequencies together to make you feel the things that I'm feeling, so I don't have to speak, that's a whole nother ballpark. And so I just encourage anybody, like everybody say I'm not musically inclined. That's not true. It's just you haven't found the methodology in which to make music yet. Everything makes
Yeah.
music. Uh, whether it be humming along to something, singing along to something, vibing, that's all in the course. It's all together. It's all one thing. So, you know,
Anéh, did you have anything you'd
Give
like
me
to
the
add
question
to
one
it?
more time.
Okay, so the question is, in what ways do you think poetry and or music has the power to transcend language and connect us on a deeper level?
It has the power. It's been doing it.
Okay.
It's been doing it for a long time. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's the modality. That's the healing modality. When you can put that pen to paper and get it out, that's a healing modality. Once you put your hand to that drum, that's that heal. That's a healing. It's a language. It's a language that we all can speak because that right there, that's a
Yeah.
heartbeat. The drum, we born with the
Yeah.
drum, and so that's what innately connects all of us. It already transcends everything. It already elevates us. We just gotta tap into the modality. This drum right here, probably nobody's ever seen it before, but it's called a hand pan, and it's the 432 hertz, right? Because again, those frequencies that was talking about, they matter, right? That 442 or 432 is the resonance of 8, which is the resonance of the earth. Because we are earth seeds, we are of this. We like to think of ourselves outside of nature, but we are of nature. There's not nature and then us. There's just nature. There's just us. So when we tap into music, you just tap into a different modality, a different version of you, right? You tap into you as in the ethereal realms. You tap into you as a feeling, right? And so when I'm in a mushroom trip, when I'm listening to music, and I can see what happens when it comes across the room. We were in the trip, and Prince came on, right? Because I not only do I provide the medicine and grow the medicine, but I also test the medicine because I will never give out any medicine that I haven't personally experienced something with. So every batch that I grow every weekend, quality control me and my tribe, we go on a journey. And so this particular one, we play music, and Prince came on, and I watched how everybody went into this zone, and everybody started crying. Purple Rain was the song, right? And that's because the entity lives in that frequency that was summoned when he made that song, right? And so it's always been transcendental that way. You watch it when we hit trances, right? So especially in our drum circles or in the church. You see it in the church because the church was our good disguise for a lot of the things that we're tapped into. So when you catch a spirit, you do that through music. You do that through the beat of a drum or the humming of something. You do that because you're tapping into a frequency. So once you tap in, you transcend this and go elsewhere. And that's why it'd be those out of body experiences, or something took over me type thing, those possession style, um, um, those feelings, right? It's because it already does that. So when we tap in, like I've tapped in, I call myself a sound siren because I use sound to heal. I have singing bowls to heal and break up blockages in the body, right? Because let's get deeper than just listening and feeling some stuff. It really, really moves stuff genetically and molecularly. And this ain't no woo-woo shit that I'm talking about. This is verifiable scientifically. You can look it up with the method, peer verified. Like this frequency, it does something to the molecules in your body. It helps them heal, right? And so that's why when you come out of it, you've been on my sound lives, people feel, depending on what I'm doing, I'm gonna clear something out of one of these 1,000 and some change energy centers, because that's we're energy beings. We're electricity.
Yeah.
That's why we can pick up brain waves on the electromagnetic level. Those are just frequencies, and we resonate at a certain frequency. And if we tap into those solfeggio frequencies in specific, you can heal a lot of things. People heal cancer with sound all the time, sonically. Sonic is an element. There's more than 4 elements. That sonic element is a powerful element.
You are absolutely correct. What drew you to become a birthing doula?
I've been like this. I come from a long line of doulas, and I know people like nowadays they think nowadays doulas have been just delegated and relegated to, just assisting morally as a support and not delivering and catching. But back in the day, that's what we did. There wasn't no distinction between a midwife and a doula. So we just did that by being present. Women, I don't know if you grew up in a house like I did, but the women do the things. We go, it's time to cook dinner. All the girl children, we in the kitchen doing it. And so same thing, it's time to deliver this baby. All the girl children, let's go. And so it's not something I really picked to do. It's just something I do. And I've always done. Yeah. And so I got a couple clients right now. I know I'll be traveling down to Philly, helping my good sis have an at-home water birth, because we have to reclaim a lot of this. We have to rematriate birth work. We have to again fortify, refortify, and establish our presence in the birthing space, because they're killing us in these hospitals. I lost my sister in a hospital. She decided she wanted to go there, and she had the baby just fine, but they reached up and tried to pull the afterbirth out of her, and they snapped an artery, and she bled out in 2 minutes. And they don't care, and they kept her on life support for a month as if that person didn't do that. There's a lawsuit to this day, and this is not just my story. This is so many people's story. And so we have to relearn and refamiliarize ourselves with a lot of things. Again, we have to tap in with our ancestors and our highest selves, to return to our consciousness and to refortify our knowledge of self, because before these hospitals was in here doing what they're doing and letting us die and believing that we are some type of non-human thing that can take immense amounts of pain and abuse. We did this. We helped each other. We squatted by the tree and did it ourselves. Like, we did this though. And so I do this as a means of that reconnecting. And I do it even deeper because I incorporate entheogens with it, because people think about it like, well, I'm not going to do it while I'm pregnant. Or that's one of my number one questions, is it safe to do while pregnant? And I always say, ask your ancestors, go back and look. I can tell you yes, but I'm just some lady on the internet. Go look. we've been doing it for a long time. When I was in Peru and Ecuador studying with ayahuasca, I watched the children come and drink out of the cups. I watched mothers with big swole bellies drinking. And again, they give it to the kids all the time. There's studies about it. I did a whole talk about this, a free talk, because I'm that passionate about it. And you can find it on my page. It's called Sacred Seeds. But yeah, it's just part of my job to rematriate a lot of things that have been taken from us, or they try to take from us, but they haven't, because there's those of us that know.
Absolutely. There are so many moving parts to you guys, and I'm so glad that you came on. And you all will be back next week with the panel as well, correct? So you could talk to them, answer. So you guys, if you enjoyed them tonight, I am going to let Anéh go ahead and play for us so that we can go ahead and hear her. She's going to do the first song of the year with us. So thank you so much.
I'm gonna hop on these singing bowls over here.
Thank you, for coming on. You always grace us with your knowledge. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say, just for the plug, like I said, the Akashic Garden. You can find us on Facebook. You can find our individual pages on Veda, Anéh, Nebulae. We have a website, Fruit of the Womb, so a lot of those medicines that were discussed are available for purchase if you are not in the particular space making it yourself. The classes will be given out. You can find the Workbook of Shadows on Amazon. Also be on the lookout, because the more male-centered version is coming out later this year. It's called Our Beautiful Struggle, From Dealing to Healing, and I'm finishing the last parts of that. So that'll be for delivery by the end of the year, if not sooner. I'm pretty much like 3/4 of the way through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a better viewpoint of Anéh while she does her sound healing, and I'm going to tend to our babies, because I'm sure they think they got some type of free pass from our normative stuff. So with that, I'd like to say peace and blessings on behalf of the Akashic Garden family, and very much so. Here is Anéh. No, I can't. Yep, I'm doing it right now. Well, I have to keep it over here because of the microphone. So what I'll do is,
appreciate y'all for sitting with me, breathing with me, resonating with me. I appreciate you, Desi, for letting me up on your podcast and ranting. And I look forward to next week when I get to be on your panel. I know I suck at the inbox, and that's something that should be also probably said. Me and inboxes don't mesh well. But I appreciate you and thank you for holding the space. And I also want to just express gratitude to the spirits and the ancestors in the room, guiding the conversation, guiding the energy, and just speaking through me and through you and everybody that's listening. But yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I definitely appreciate you all. And I can't wait to have you all talk to the panel next week. I know they'll have tons of things to talk about with you guys. I mean, there was a lot I wanted to talk about with you all. And y'all got so many different talents and different things like that. I know I wasn't going to be able to get through all of them. I'm just like, I don't know which ones to talk about.
This ain't going
but
to
I
be
wanted to
our
talk
only
about the things
time here, so it's okay.
Okay, absolutely. I love that. Please come back. Come on, come on.
Yeah,
Even anything you want to
want
talk
have
about.
me, baby, just let me know.
Girl, all the time. Like I am definitely a student of the truth forever. So like to me, as long as that's what you pushing, you always got a platform to come in, talk to us, say whatever it is. You could give me the topic and I'll let you host the whole show.
I got a podcast, but you are more than welcome to come and be on.
Yes, I would love that. We definitely will connect. Thank you all for tuning in to the Immersive Experience. I appreciate you all being there. You all have an amazing night, and we'll see you next week.